All right, so you can pause your typing, turn your attention up here. So we're going to cover a couple important things for today. So as a reminder, this first kind of set homework assignments from weeks 1, 2, and we don't have homework this week because of your project. So 1 and 2, if you haven't gotten those done, please make sure this is kind of like the entry. We're starting out more leniency side of things. This assignment for the emotion stuff that you just did, we're going to talk about that today. Good fun. We're going to talk about that today, and hopefully I'm going to have a couple of volunteers who share their stuff so we can kind of see how that went and react to it. After our first project, that's when things are going to be due. Just assume, unless I say otherwise, every single start of class on Tuesday, that's when that assignment is going to be due. So because we're probably going to talk about it, we're probably going to critique each other. We might give it a shot of like redoing it depending on what it is, not because it's like inherently bad, but just to get the practice of, again, just seeing our work, revising it, and tweaking it, because that is literally editing to a T. So reminder there. And then a couple more details and some stuff about the first project. So again, that's going to be due next Tuesday. Do not fret if you're like, there's some stuff I'm not sure about how this is going to go or look. We're actually you're going to get to practice using footage that I recorded of myself at my house with my dog. So you're going to get a chance to like see how it feels, see how much footage I recorded, see what the clips look like. And I will already note that there's plenty of footage that I recorded that if you were to record that much, which really isn't too much in my opinion, you'd be fine. So the call outs, this is going to be a day in your life. So we might have maybe later on, I'm going to leave a note for myself. If you want to get crazy with it and you want to brainstorm some ideas as a group of like, how can I make this more than just me like walking around, my yard with my phone? We can talk about that. I have some ideas. I do have mini tripods. They should be here. So what that is it's basically like a little, instead of the big ones that you see that are like more professional, it's tiny and it holds your phone. So this is great that if you want to do stuff that's a little bit more artsy, or it just gives you a little bit more control in recording. So these are property of the university. So I'm going to have some kind of sign out sheet or something, or some like, I swear on my life, I'm not going to steal this and like sell it on eBay or something, even though they're only worth like $10. So it's not a huge thing. But please make sure that you respect those. Like, don't do something crazy that is going to like break them or cause problems. Again, it's not a huge deal if like your dog eats it or whatever, because hopefully they can do that. But don't fret, but just be mindful. Some key criteria. So I have the full rubric of what is the stuff I'm going to be looking for in project 1. So in module 4, the very, 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 very bottom, there's PDF project 1, and it's going to have all the different things of like criteria, expectations. If you want to look at that right now, you're welcome to. In fact, why don't I just hold up? So give me 1 second. Once it's done. So, okay. So the main thing, a lot of the big important stuff is that it should be about 60 to 90 seconds. And it should capture different parts of your life. So it doesn't need to be every single thing that you do in a day. That would drive me crazy. I don't expect you to do that. That's like a level of mindfulness and creativity that like, don't push yourself to that level. It's fine. But thinking about how to break down different things that you do into more creative shots and multiple shots. So we're going to talk more about what that looks like and practice some of that today. So this could be as simple as like, this is my morning routine. I make coffee, I do some homework, I watch some YouTube, I do these things, I drive, I go to work, I go to bed. Like, that's fine. So again, duration 60 to 90 seconds. Obviously the film or anything shot should be filmed by you. So if I start seeing videos of like mountains and stuff, I'm going to be like, I don't know where you went in the last week, but why wasn't I invited? Also, I'm gonna assume you probably didn't take that shot in the edit. So I wrestled with this. When I say that you shouldn't have clips longer than 5 seconds, my main goal is, if you think about like in lit class, I'm sure no one in this class ever did this, but you do that thing where you're like, you know, your teacher asks you a question, you're like, man, what a question for humanity to wrestle with. Questions are so hard for humanity, and you just like yammer on, you don't really say anything. That's the thing I want you to avoid in the edit, is just that it's like, you could literally just do 60 seconds of you like sitting at your computer. Like, that's not an interesting video.
That's kind of funny though.
It could be.
Like if you wanted to make it a funny video and like make it a joke and just like have dead silence and you just on the computer.
If I gave you in the future something that was more creative and more like prompt based, yes. But for this specific skill, I want you to practice getting multiple shots that are longer, cutting them down, and making sure that you're creating a sequence. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've already answered.
No, it's okay.
Are we able to like record gameplay that we do if we play games?
Yes, I actually, funny enough, have some footage from my example of that. It'll kind of show you like how that would look. So yeah, that's totally fine. Don't make the whole thing you doing like a speed run, right? But like, just making sure that you are not doing giant chunks of clips. I'm not going to go through and literally count like, ooh, this person was like 6.5 seconds long. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. But this is more just to give you like, I'm not going to be super picky about that 5 seconds, but I just don't want like a 30-second long shot, or like even like a 10-second long, specifically because I want you to practice the skill of thinking, how can I make something visually interesting by showing a lot of different ways to see it. Does that make sense? Yeah.
For that product sucks.
Yeah.
Do you want like a separate thing with the original footage so you know how much was cut down? Or
no, that's good question. No, don't worry about it. So, and I'm going to show you my timeline for my footage that I edited, what it looked like, just to kind of give you a visual of like, if your timeline looks like this, you'll be fine. I actually broke the rules and probably would get a bad grade because mine is over 90 seconds. So just catching myself there already. So doing some math, that it means you should at least have about 12 pre-planned shots, because if they're all about 5 seconds, maybe a little bit more math, that means about 60 seconds. So if you take 12 10-second shots, that's what, like less than a minute. That's like not a ton of work. So the hard part from my doing all this to just kind of frame you all up for expectation, it's actually not that hard to just be like, oh, I should probably, I'm doing something like blah, 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 and take the 10 seconds. It's actually putting together in your head, how do I want this all to like flow together? What do I want to cut out? What do I want to keep? There's some footage I planned on using that I didn't, because it didn't make a lot of sense. Or like, I recorded some stuff on one day where I was wearing like a gray shirt, and then the next day I was wearing a hoodie. And so like the visuals of, that just being like disorienting. So there's some of the things that it's like, it's not going to take you a ton of time, but it's just going to be the editing side. And then aim to try and do between 3 to 5 different settings. So if it's like walking dog, playing video games, drawing, like that would be fine. And we'll talk about how to make each of those elements or parts how to break those up so that when you get into the editing side, you'll have enough stuff. So you do not need to send me the Premiere file. I just want that final video file. So the H.264, that's our MP4 that we've been doing, that Premiere should have, you have as a baseline. I also have audio, so you should add some music into it to enhance your storytelling. Again, I have examples of that with mine, so we will see that. And these are just some like best practices. So again, this is practicing shooting for the edit. So what am I capturing, so I know when I sit down, I know what I'm trying to piece together and say. Making sure our audio, you're gonna delete out the audio from your clips. I don't want, the like phone rattle or like stuff like that, just because we haven't talked about that yet. We're gonna get a little bit more into audio mixing in the coming weeks. So you don't even need to worry about like, oh shoot, this was really loud, or there's a lot of scratchy stuff going on. Like, totally fine. Just delete that audio, add music underneath. That's it. And then organization. So just making sure that, you're practicing, making sure where your files are, making sure that if you move stuff around, you know how to get to it. So this is, if you hit all 5s, you get a 25, so that's 100%. I have no doubt that everyone in this room is capable of getting a perfect score. I will, I guess, oust myself. That's the right word. I am not big into like penalizing you for like being, off a little bit. The thing that I'm looking for is like, where are you trying to skirt what I'm asking you to do to like make it easy on yourself? That's all I care about. If you're like, I don't know if this is going to look cool or good, I'm just going for it, you will be fine. If you're like, I'm going to shoot that 10-minute long video and send it to him without editing it, 0, because you ignored everything. So I have no doubt that you all will do just fine. Please email me questions if you have any. Otherwise, this is kind of your rubric. And like I said, you're going to have access to, it's in the module in Canvas under week 4 at the very bottom. It's the last one on the list. So you'll have that there. I will also make sure I upload my final edit of my version, so you can use that kind of as a like, what is he expecting, or like what's good and kind of thing. Okay, so we talked about the things to do. I mentioned a couple no-nos. So the big thing is like, don't do a bunch of really long shots. We already kind of hit on that. Uncohesive. So like, what I mean by that is, you could, I'm sure, make an argument like, oh, I'm trying to be avant-garde or some like, misunderstood artist. If like, you have a shot of you like pouring coffee, and then you're like on the bus, and then you're over here pouring coffee again, and then you're over on this part of the bus. Like, that's just going to be disorienting. Tell things in pieces and chunks. Don't do like too many jump arounds. Like, we'll get to messing with some of that stuff later on. Right now, just keep it simple. Leaving in, starting and stopping recording times. So when you get to my footage, you're going to see some parts where I like hit go because I was setting up the camera and it was like too awkward to do something. So don't leave that part in. Like, cut the stuff out that makes sense to cut out. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. And then if everything looks the same, where it's like everything is like at a distance or everything is close up, that's demonstrating like you're not thinking from the side of how can I, what's an example? So one might be like, I might have a shot of me if I was going to add this of me teaching. One might be from the very back by where Tyler is. One might be where Josh is. And then one might be like right here, right? That's visual. My words are just not here today. Whatever. It's not as interesting. So just making sure that you're adding that interesting. But like I said, everything that I'm going to give you access to is going to show you what I'm expecting. And if you get the level of footage that I am going to show you, you'll be fine. With that, in honor of the Super Bowl, I have 4 different ads that we have never seen before. And I thought it'd be fun to do a really fast Super Bowl ad playoffs, where we're going to watch these 4 ads and we're going to vote on who is the champion. So we're only going to watch them once because I feel like watching them a whole bunch of time could just be really annoying. And what's this? But okay. So we're gonna start with our product FC, I guess, and food AC for years. Yeah. So our first ad we're gonna watch is a very legendary ad. This is from Apple. You have probably seen Lord knows how many references to this ad. This is the famous 1984 Apple ad. I think we actually mentioned it on day 11, so yeah, let's see. So this is ad number 1. God, of pure ice, where you sexual guesses, what the chance I can to vision and swallows. This old path are looking at any sleeps, watch me on my we have one spanning wheel, one with sorrow, one at boss. Oh, and there's some for themselves, but I risk them in the eye. You call it was my. I'm going to already told you so. You continue to introduce Macintosh, and you'll see why 1984 D, like an 1984.
Ooh, Apple. Sorry, they're just so up there. Their own stuff. It's hilarious. All right, legendary ad. Second one, and then we'll vote on which one is the best.
When we asked Reebok to send us Terry Tate, some people thought we were crazy. But I'm a firm believer in paradigm breaking, outside the box thinking. It went. And since Terry's been with us, our productivity has gone up 46%.
They come.
We're getting more from our employees than ever before. You know, if you can't see on the TPS and what, which is what's really impressed me is how Terry's become part of the Felcher family. He fits right in you.
What? That's a year this
To be honest, I wish Reebok sent us 10 Terry Tates.
All right. Votes for Apple 1984.
You ready for Macintosh? I'll chuck on it if you're going to do it. I saw it. I got one vote.
Terry Tate, decking everyone in the office. Oh, man. Sorry, Apple. Okay. Next set. These are our snack foods in the AC. We will start with this one.
Yeah, is it above? And their air tries hot quarters. You'll notice. Actually, Jesse, it's just basic ingredients. So that we don't eat our own supply. Not the lie. Jesse, everyone's you like fixed. And I don't just and I too. Can you look like how fast? That to my ear sounds distinctly like flying. Can you like even a blind storm? What? What are these? Nurse, say their name. Corners. Take! I want to stop you out. We've got 6 signature flavors, y'all. Silver! You make strawberry! Safe. 7 works. Yeah. We're gonna eat a lot of snacks together. Sweetness. Yeah. What's up?
All right. That is Popcorners Breaking Bad. Tight. And last but not least, the Budweiser Clydesdales.
Referees and jackets. So, I believe that's the thing.
All right. Votes from Popcorners, Jesse and Walt.
I was going to get a little closer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
For Budweiser.
Oh, man.
Okay, now's the showdown. Terry Tate, decking people in the office.
laying out those lazy workers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Terry Tate, you might get your Super Bowl popcorn as you're sticking with it. Oh no. Jesse and Walt, you're out of business. Terry Tate. Awesome. Thanks for playing Super Bowl Stack Time halftime show. With that, what do I have next? I forget. Oh, people mentioned when I checked in with everyone last time, some hotkeys and practicing that with Premiere. So I will make sure I add this slide to you. If you want to take pictures, go for it. That's fine. If you want to write it down, that's fine. If you Google Premiere hotkeys, that's fine. I just find, it's a lot of finding, that with Premiere's guides and stuff, Adobe's guides in general, they're really hard to find all the data in there. These are the ones that, as you are editing, are probably going to be the most helpful right now as you're getting the basics. For those of you who maybe have a little bit more experience in Premiere, there's not too many that I would add to this list without, getting out of hand or having some caveats. So obviously, Control-Z, undo, that's everything, everywhere. That should be your friend. If you do something and you stop and you go, oh crap, what did I just do? Just undo it. Add Shift in there, you will redo it. So again, it's across all Adobe programs. Grouping, Control-G, so Control plus Group. That'll help you with your footage to kind of keep things if you want to edit a sequence and then just make sure like, okay, I got one part done, one chunk done, going from there. Control Save, do this all the time. I think Premiere auto saves for the most part, but man, have I lost way too many project files or progress on project files when Adobe decides to be a giant a-hole. They crash out at the worst possible time. So Control Save, Razor tool, that is like one of the things that boggles my mind is it's not R, it's C. So think cut, C, not R, Razor. So it's a cut tool. And then V for selection. So just like with Photoshop or anything, that's what you're going to use to click around. Something to be mindful of. So I put this one at the bottom. I had a longer explanation for it. If in your project file, so usually you've got your video, there's like this line, and there's your audio. So I am telling you to delete, like for your video files, delete your audio file. To do that, all you would do is you would hold Alt, or I think that's the same Mac and Windows stuff, but you're going to hold Alt and you're just going to click on this one. And instead, usually these two are linked. So if I click on one, it's going to highlight both, whether it's the video or the audio. If you hold Alt, it just highlights the audio. So you just do that. You'll know if you've done it correctly because it will go like only one of the bars will go to a different color. Does that make sense? It's like in Premiere, when you click on something, the color changes to note that you've highlighted it. It should only be one of these parts. So if this one doesn't change color, then that means that one's highlighted. Just hit delete and then you're good. Cool. So I will, like I said, I will upload this to make sure that you have it. This is also all over the internet, but with kind of the basics of editing, these are going to be the most helpful for you at this stage. Okay, I gotta check our feedback volunteers, see if anyone uploaded, so give me a second here. Maybe I didn't. Sorry, I might have goofed up here, done the wrong thing. Did anyone try to submit any of their homework from last week for feedback? I'll take that as a no. Let me, okay. Do I have a couple people, maybe like 2 or 3, who'd be willing to share what they made for this week? Please? Yes? Okay, awesome. So what you're going to do is, I will highlight this here real quick. So just take a second. If you could go here where it's week 3 feedback volunteers, and then just dump them both in the activity 2 folder.
I think I had planned on using this for something else and forgot that. So, so thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Scott. So in the meantime, while they're doing that, as a reminder, so what we're going to do is not necessarily critique the edit. So hopefully we're going to spare any anxiety about how they did. But instead, what I want you to do is to focus in on what kind of shots did they pick for their video, what kind of music did they pick to elicit a feeling, and we're going to see if we can guess and accurately piece apart what they were trying to make us feel. So what emotion they were trying to convey. So Sarah and Scott, once you have your videos uploaded, just let me know and I will get those downloaded.
Which one was in the things?
The week 3 volunteers and then activity 2 folder. Actually, while I'm doing it. Everyone else is here. Just see what I have for this because okay. Is it gonna take a little bit to get it uploaded? Maybe. Okay. What we'll do, just so we're not standing here in suspense, is we're gonna watch a video by. So last week I mentioned this group called Film Riot. They are YouTube creators who talk all about the nitty-gritty of film stuff. So any of my aspiring filmmakers out there, that is gonna be a great channel resource for you. The things we're going to talk about today that are going to help you for your project are composition, framing, and lenses. So lenses we're not going to get too worried about because we're going to be using, and I'm encouraging you to use your phones for recording. Depending on your device, you may have like literal different camera lenses on there. So you might kind of get the gist of what they're doing. He's speaking from a more professional sense. So we're going to talk more about lenses and using them effectively later on. The main two things are going to be composition and framing. So we're going to watch this tutorial, and then there's a couple things I'm going to kind of laser you in on to and then there's going to be a couple of things I'm going to laser you in on to help with tasks for your project.
Every now and again, we partner with our friends over at MZ who are awesome enough to help us bring some great educational deliciousness for free for your faces. And if you don't know, MZ is a provider of online education with fantastic instructors and filmmakers like Philip Blue. If you don't know who Philip Blue is, he has been around for a long time doing some really incredible work. And today we have a chunk of his class to show you where he's talking about visual storytelling. Ready, set, learn. In this episode, we're going to concentrate on what we film. We will learn how we arrange the subject matter, in which case right now, me, within the frame. All the various shots we use in the language we have developed to describe how lenses can affect the image and how light and contrast play a role. So what makes a great shot? What makes your work stand out from others? The subject matter is incredibly important. But to make a pleasing image, we have to look at how we construct that image in the frame. We've been creating artwork and telling stories visually since the dawn. Over that time, artists have perfected many techniques, and we still employ these techniques today. Framing or composition is as relevant in film as it is in paintings, illustration, or graphic design. Over the years, we have learned there are many ways we can arrange objects in the frame using shapes and alignments that is pleasing to us. We can also use composition and framing to guide the eye to what we want it to see or not see, help telling the story. There are many rules in filming, and when it comes to composition, the golden rule, the main rule is the rule of thirds. It's important to understand this so you know when and how you can break it. So with the rule of thirds, if you divide the frame into 3 segments, horizontally and vertically, By placing objects of interest in the intersecting points, we create an image that is pleasing to the eye. There are many books on the rule of thirds and how it applies to nature in much more detail, but just following this one simple rule can dramatically improve your shots. In a wide shot, we can create balance in the frame with how our subject matter relates to their surroundings. And when we're in a medium, we can place our person on the lines to make a fixing frame. When we're in the close-up, by placing the eyes on the intersecting points helps draw our attention to. The eyes, as they say, are windows to the soul, and they automatically draw our attention to. By placing them on the rule of thirds, we are helping to drive the viewer's attention now. We can even sacrifice many other things by keeping the eyes on these intersecting points. We can chop off the top of somebody's head to frame as long as the eyes are in focus. In fact, we can get away with quite a lot as long as the eyes are in focus on the intersecting points. Another interesting form of composition is using the central frame. By placing the subject matter solely in the center of the frame, we draw attention to it. Central framing is also really good to use fast-paced editing and shots. The eye doesn't have to travel around much to see what's important in that frame. Central framing also allows us to play one of my personal favorite types of shots, a one-point perspective central framing, playing with leading lines and symmetry as used by Stanley Kubrick and Wes Anderson. Draws us into the frame and creates a fun three-dimensional fiddle. I've been using these more and more in my work. So what do I mean by leading lines? Well, leading lines are another concept of composition. It literally means using the lines in the frame to direct the viewer's eyes to where you want them to look. In this shot, note how the lines draw you across the screen to the main points of interest. Using depth filled with some of these previous rules, we can enter that three-dimensional space. We can also denote importance or power of certain subject matter in the frames. We can also use a shallow depth fill to denote the importance of the subject matter or character and their inner story. Filling this frame also denotes power. An extreme close-up like this lets you know how important the person is, while shrinking the subject matter in a wide, making them appear small, can also show how they're feeling or their worth to the scene. Contrast and light can also be naturally pulled towards the brighter objects in the frame. A darkened frame with an highlight or spotted area will pull you right in. We can also create a frame in the frame. A doorway, window can frame the subject matter. Another compositional subject I'd like to talk about is lead space. If a character in the shot is looking to the left, then it should be placed on the right. This means then looking into the empty space, making a more shot. Again, by understanding these rules means we can break them for effect. So we know the different rules of how to organize subject matter in the frame. Now we're going to look at the different types of shots we regularly use, and still they can help us with our stories. Eventually, composition will stop becoming truly second nature to you. Whenever I'm out about looking at things, I actually see things as frames. It's quite bad at times. I go to a restaurant, I sit down, and I choose a table based on, that's a nice outline of the frame, to take photos of the person I'm with. Watch TVs, watch movies, look at stuff online, read, experiment, find the style that you like. So this is the full frame sensor, and I have a 10mm on. This is truly an extreme wide angle. And this is a wide angle, 18mm on a full frame. It's almost crazy as the last one. This is much more practical. This is used to really establish a shot. It gives a sense of space and the location that you look. And this is what's called a full shot. It's called that because we could see full one, top to toe with a little bit of space, top and bottom. This is a medium long. As you can see, it hits the knees and the head in frame. We don't go wider than this when we cut off the feet because that is really unnatural. This is the widest of our visual medium shots. This is the cowboy shot. This is a frame so we can see, just by the clutch, we can see guns. Not those, guns for cowboys, hence the name. It's not really something that I do much of. I have filmed many westerns, especially down here in Richmond. But this is the cowboy. And this is our medium shot. This is a 50mm full frame sensor. This is what we see with our eyes. I think it's 50mm. Very standard, beautiful shot. And this is our medium close-up. Otherwise known as MCU. And this is our nice shot we use quite frequently for interviews and for dialogue scenes by our main characters. And this is our close-up. This is the tightest shot we do before we start cutting off the top of the end. This close-up is called the choker because it is just above Sarah's choker. Cutting top of the head off and just below. And this is our extreme close-up. This is as close as we get whilst keeping the mouth and the eyes in frame. This is used for getting that heightened connection with your actor. It also is the one that's going to show the most force, not that you have been forced. This is our macro. This is about as extreme close up as you're going to do. So close you can see me reflecting in Sarah's eye. That still is incredibly narrow. In episode 1, I talked about that standard field of view, what we essentially see with our eyes, which is 50mm on a full frame, 35mm on the crop, Super 35 film sensor. And whilst we can shoot so much with just a single lens, we want to get a close-up, we close up to the subject, then want to go wider, we walk back. Using different lenses has a really profound impact on both the subject and the background. In this shot of Julian, both he and the lock are very prominent in the frame. You look at all, you take it all in. 18mm, a nice wide angle. And as we go on to a longer lens, we are narrowing our field of view. So we're seeing less of the lock. Julian is still the same in the frame. Background is knocked out. He is becoming more important. And it's the same as we go tighter. 50mm, a narrower field of view. Background is continuing to get knocked out, but we're seeing a lot less of that. As we go on to the longer lens, we're starting to see what's behind the lock. We are putting that background closer to Julian. We're starting to see the bridge. And as we go into a longer lens, we can now see the traffic on the bridge. Julian is still the same size in the frame. He is still important, but the whole frame is completely changed from the beginning one, which had the lock and heel. Then at 300mm, you can really pull that background close to Julian. It's a completely different shot. It tricks you into thinking they are much closer together. Here's a great example of that down on Brighton Beach. This is a 400mm. It looks like these kids are in imminent danger of being hit by this wave, but in reality, actually completely fine and not that close. It really is a dramatic effect, using a long lens to pull the background closer to a subject, something you can only do by using a longer focal length. You can't do this with a standard field of view lens. This is why lenses and lens choices are so important. Your choice of lens will also affect how a person's face will appear. So we're filming Julian on various lenses, from a long telephoto to a super wide. And you'll see the changes in his face as we go wider and wider on our field of view. On the telephoto lenses, they do look very similar. He doesn't change that much, but his face is slightly broader and somewhat flatter. As I just explained in the previous section, you are seeing that change in the background as well. So there is a double effect on that, both to the subject matter and to the background. It's when we get into the focal length range of around 50 to 90mm, which is the portrait range. This is the most natural and representative of what Julian looks like in real life. About 85mm is pretty much him as I've known him. 50mm is also very similar. When we start going wider, we start seeing an unnatural distortion to the face. It's not what he actually looks like, but the lens is making things look Its face is looking somewhat wider, his nose bigger. It's not as luxury. So we get to the point where we go, so insanely wide, he looks just completely bizarre. Sorry, Julia. If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, or innovator, domain.com is the place to go. And the next great idea hits you. When you select the menu, probably your ticket the first house 3, vision for your brand, via world's top 2 premier most recognized domain name extensions are not.
So we're gonna cover a couple things. I'm gonna explain the idea of leading lines a little bit more because I think that term is a little bit more abstract than I wish you would have framed it. And then also the idea of why we make different decisions around lenses, framing, and all that stuff. So my volunteers, good.
I wasn't able to upload it to the
Okay.
so I just put it in the week for action.
Okay.
Sit there.
Cool. I will check on that in a second. Okay. We'll do this and then we'll come back. So thank you for volunteering for that. So the goal of our trio, which is composition, framing, and lenses, is that these are other tools in our toolkit when we talk about visual storytelling. So like we've talked already with visual storytelling, a lot of it is what we're seeing. This is about how we capture what we're seeing. So when we have a camera's lens, that affects the distortion. So that last shot where he's like really warped, you can imagine that might be more for like a sci-fi shot, or that might even be for like a horror shot or something like that. Something that's a little bit more compressed. That's like when you see that really intense dialogue in like a mafia movie, right? And it feels like they're right next to each other. These are the choices that directors and filmmakers are making, is how do I capture the feeling and then use the tool I have to capture that feeling. So then there's like distance and angle. And if I'm looking, straight forward at all of you, or if I'm actually like going like this, you can even do this with your physical self to kind of see the effect. That's the idea of how we are making decisions to make composition, framing, and lenses all visually communicate a feeling. So I'm sure with design, you've probably heard about some of these kind of like different layout things. Very similar concept with video production. This isn't something, again, that with your shots, I'm literally going to like pop a grid on all of your videos and be like, oh, they didn't follow it. But this is something, if you're like, how do I want to look at something in my shot? I think even on your phones, there is like a rule of thirds filter thing. So you can use that to your advantage to get some good practice. And just to reiterate what he covered, is it's the idea that these 4 points where these imaginary lines intersect are the most interesting spots. So where it becomes interesting is, maybe you have someone like talking and there's something over here that's going on, or maybe you put something right in the center, which draws their eye in. So there's not a right or a wrong. It's just a different feeling. Another example he uses here is like even with the close-up. The thing I also want to note too is that like, even with that shot, that guy isn't perfectly like on that specific line. It's just that he's in that area. Same thing here, like the guy's left eye that would be isn't right on that line or whatever. But because of how it's set up and that at least his eyes are kind of on that top line in the right corner, it makes it more interesting and engaging for us. So this is the leading lines idea, and I'll kind of explain it. So what he means by leading lines is, if we were to just look at this person and like kind of imagine if the camera's over here and we like shift it this way, it would feel flat. So imagine like when you've seen a photo and it's literally just like someone who is like stand there and then they like go like this on a blank wall or something. It just feels flat. It feels flat because there's no lines, there's no dimension, there's no feeling of other elements in the image making you think, there's depth behind this person. Like this goes into the photo almost. So imagine like a drawing, like a logo versus like a more detailed like illustration. So what we use to establish leading lines are things that are around us that give visual cues that communicate depth. So in here, what I might do is that whiteboard, that's making a line, right? So if I just stand and I look at it like this, that's boring. But if I shift this way, all of a sudden it's at like a weird angle. So that would be an example. The tables, if I stand up front, use this example already, but if I stand up front like this, not as interesting. If I come this way,
oh, now I've got all these tables that are making this like line that visually is shifting as it goes into the picture. So that is what he means by leading lines, is just looking for some of those things that are in your space. So if you're at home, that could be like counters and cabinets. That could be like windows. So instead of being right against the window, if the window's kind of like off to the side. We saw in this gym shot. So like he literally uses the wall. So we've got these bags. There's one that's really big, one that's a little bit smaller visually, smaller. There's him. So that's what gives it that effect, is that it's like there's things that are in sequence or that almost feel like they're pointing in a direction towards their subject. And then the last thing I wanted to cover and reiterate from this video. So he throws a lot of different shot lengths and stuff at you. Basically, the reason that they have terms for this is communication on a set. So if we're trying to get a shot and I say, hey, I need a full shot of this person, someone knows like the rule that, oh, their head and their feet need to be in the frame, right? So again, that's not something that you're going to get quizzed on or anything, but that's just helpful for you to just think about like the language of production. The thing I want you to take away from these ideas of full shots, medium shots, close-ups is for you in capturing your footage, is to kind of almost have like a basic 3-level shot idea. So, okay, I want to record myself walking my dog. Maybe I'm going to get one shot that's a full shot. So I'm going to set my camera up further up the street on the ground, and we're going to start really far back, and we're going to walk towards my camera. Okay, that would be like a full shot. Then with that same action, I might be like, okay, now I'm actually going to like hold the camera while my dog is walking and make it feel like it's a little bit closer up on like we're seeing him, right? So that would be another example. And then a close-up might be like, okay, I'm going to like set it on his back while he's walking. Maybe don't do that if you're not even comfortable with it. And that's going to be like the close-up of his head or whatever that we're seeing in the frame as we're going. So this is the idea of like a sequence and using different shot types to basically just add visual interest. We could just look at you walking your dog one way, but by adding different versions of it, it just makes it more interesting. So again, when you're recording, something that can be helpful is like, okay, maybe a farther up shot, full shot, something that's a little bit closer that helps us see a little bit more detail, than something that's like really close that's really interesting and engaging. Lenses, we're just going to kind of breeze past because, again, with your cameras, we're not like swapping out lenses or making certain decisions. We might do some of that in a couple weeks, but the main thing I wanted you to observe and take away is how the lenses impact the image. So again, when we have something that's called a wide angle lens, that's anything that's under 50 millimeters. So millimeters is just like the kind of lens. It kind of gives this distorted view. So you might see a lot of content creators use this. You might see a lot of YouTubers use this. It's because it captures a lot. If they're in a small room, they can see more, but it feels like the room is a little bit bigger. If there's more space, they'll do something like a 50 millimeter, which is considered, that's kind of like the standard. I want to say that genetically our eyes function as a 50 millimeter lens. So like this is how we naturally see the world, is kind of like this. And then the telephoto, it just makes everything feel super squished. So I could have like a building way far behind me. And if someone's looking at me with a telephoto lens, it'll make it feel like the building is like right behind me. Whereas like a wide angle and all this stuff, it kind of like distorts and warps everything. So this is just something to keep in your back pocket when we think about all of that stuff. This is going to cue our first break because I'm going to get our assignments queued up. So feel free to get some water, walk around, do what you got to do. And then we will head back here at about like 9:40.
What? No, this was other morning. I don't know. I was intending. Oh, sorry. So I have my glasses out, but so I had yours off you. I need to do. Yes.
Their assignments, what was that? So we're going to start with Scott's first. So here we go.
The second one just plays right.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. Thank you, Scott. First one, observations. What'd you see? What'd you hear? What were you feeling?
Birds chirpy.
Birds chirping. Was it like creepy Edgar Allan Poe birds? Was it like Mary Poppins birds? What kind of birds?
Snow White.
Snow White birds. Even better. What else? What else did you hear? Yes, it was. Go for it.
The music,
Okay, so the music
like a 4, like dreadful.
for 1 or for 2? For 2. Okay.
One is one, like, I don't know, like joyful, more actually,
Sure.
like showing the scene.
Yeah. Got it. For the first one, what did that video want to make you do?
Go.
Go hiking. What else?
Don't touch.
Touch some grass.
Yeah.
Get off your iPad. Sway out. Have kids.
And
How about the second one?
around.
Say it one more time.
Inside.
Stay inside.
Thing.
Guys, right around the corner. He's hiking the shed, right? So, Scott, I would say well done. The thing I liked is the nice touch of the bird difference. It's small, but that was a nice touch. So I think these are great examples. The thing I think that would be interesting as we learn a skill coming forward is color grading. And so that would have been one of those things you didn't do this wrong, but this is an observation of like the first one, it's nice and bright. It's really colorful. The greens are really green. But if the next one, it looked really faded and it was just kind of dingy, all of a sudden, again, it's like another element that just adds into the spookiness that we're already feeling. So well done. Nicely edited. Let me figure out. There we go. Now we're going to do Sarah's. Did you have the same thing or were you doing just one? Okay, that's totally fine. Question, Thomas, or
Did
did you upload it?
the thing, that thing, no.
We're just going to do these two, but we can review later just because I want to make sure that we keep our time.
Stress happening. Not your body.
And talk about sticks, man. Is a that you win. You can my say, yeah.
I have questions for you. But first, what do people see? What do they hear? What'd you notice?
Think I'm like female that
Okay.
like a breakup.
Do you think it's a breakup?
I think.
Okay. Or maybe they're on the rocks.
Like
You kids are too young to know it's complicated on Facebook, but gives me that kind of vibe. Stop.
Kind of like old school vibe, like
Okay.
camera like flickering and stuff. It's
Yeah.
like a clean
Share it. A little more retro. It's kind of the 90s call out. How does it make you feel? Like, what does it make you want to do?
go back to the ship.
Okay. Let's go back. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Out of month.
Excited.
Right. Anything else?
Kind of longing.
Okay, longing. That's an interesting emotion. That. What did you all? What were you all watching as it was?
Is that how I close?
Yeah.
I
I'm not that dumb. I'm pretty dumb, but I'm not that dumb. What were you all like captured by? What were you focused on?
was like a music video.
Yeah.
Lyrics.
I think that's an interesting detail. Is that for me? I was almost watching the words, and like I was kind of ping ponging between the words and the visual. So Sarah, how did you like? What were the different elements? Well, actually, before I do that, Scott, what's your thought?
I was just gonna say too, like rather than just having the words like put up in chunks, like having them word by word kind of made you
Yeah.
follow. I mean, more invested in the video.
Yeah. So you have to kind of pay attention. Like it's not just a giant block. We also didn't have it in like Comic Sans, right? Like there's a very specific font that was chosen. So Sarah, what were some of the choices, or like how did you add all those up?
Just lots of tears.
Okay.
Well, because I'm used to it. I was, your lunch plans, I could see what I could like transfer over to that. But I've been obsessed with the song since Ellen came.
Sure.
And it was like a lot to just go, okay, pick whatever song you want and try and change it. So I was like, okay, let me get an idea based
He knows.
on first. I then went and changed it to different other songs. But I don't know, I just like this. This is kind of how I think when I see music. It's
Sure.
I just
No, that's fun. For the footage, how much of the stuff was already baked into the stuff that you picked, and how much of this is like overlays or effects or anything?
it's all. I didn't do like much like color grading or anything like that. It was just like these words, the tones, stuff they were put videos. I tried to, but it probably the
Sure.
out. But like the film camera, I just looked at like a YouTube video and showed me step by step and checked it out.
Sweet. Nice. Yeah, we're gonna mess with like filters and overlays and stuff for sure in the future, because those are really fun. But I love the choice and the commitment, especially to the like step-by-step text, because I know how that works. Is it's like it's not a fast, AI do this thing for me. It's like you have to like line it up and do all that. So awesome. Well done. I'm excited to see the work from everyone else. So that will be great. The thing we are going to talk about next here is the idea of a shot list and building a sequence. So very similar to kind of what we just saw. It's this idea of like, how can we be in the midst of the woods really close up? How can we be really far out looking at the woods and all this stuff? So we're going to see some examples of this and practice. The reason shot lists are super important is because it is kind of a outline before you do anything, so that when you get on set, when you get to the place you're recording or wherever you are, you know exactly what you're getting. And it's really hard to describe. It's almost like saving yourself the headache of getting to the creative production of editing, and you sit down and you have all your shots in and you go, oh my gosh, if I had this one shot, that would be great. And then your brain goes, I do have that shot because I planned it. Or you go, oh my gosh, I don't have that shot because I didn't think of that. And then there's the idea of you have to get everyone back together. You have to get costumes, gear, equipment. There's costs involved. So shot lists are really helpful to rethink and to plan out before you go and shoot. In your case, you don't have giant budgets riding on your production, but you do have time, right? So the idea of like, if you don't want to have to put in the mental energy to be like, oh my gosh, what do I film today? Just sitting down and being like, well, I want to do some stuff about me playing video games. Okay, what are like 4 different shots of how to look at that? How can I make this interesting? The reason we do shot lists, like I said, is we want to imagine beforehand so we can anticipate and get the multi-angle coverage that we're looking for. So coverage is the idea that if you're watching something, you're seeing it from this side, you're seeing it from this side, you're seeing it from back here, you're seeing it from up here. So then when an editor sits down to edit and they decide we're making a horror movie, they have all this stuff to make it feel like a horror movie. They're not second guessing or anything like that. So that leads ultimately to a higher chance of making your edit really engaging and connecting with your audience. Then there's the shooting of the sequence. So like I said, with a sequence, it's the idea of seeing things from multiple spaces and angles. And that is the thing that gives you a creative perspective. Because if you think about it, a video is you as the one in control, showing people what you want them to see. So if you don't want them to see something, you don't show it, right? Or if you really want them to focus on something, that's what you're going to show a lot of. So sequences and all of that are ways to kind of set us up to spend the most time on the things that you as the creative, as the artist, want us to be thinking about and processing. So before we watch this example, I wanted to show one of my favorite sequences in film, and you'll actually potentially see how they shot multiple things or multiple takes as we went. So as you're watching, I want you to be thinking about what in this sequence are we seeing where they might have actually had like the camera set up and they would have done multiple takes, they would have done small changes, all that stuff, and watch for those little details, and then we'll break that down.
So this time, the bright. It's hard. You got another some things. We're going. You should. I'll take care of it. You so sorry, shut up. Then we back on. You are to Lisa's place. Holla. Have a cup of tea and wait for all this to blow over. Why we got her listens? Because we do. She don't, Chillen. I have to know she's all right. Why? Because I love her. All right. Hey. We're not staying there, though. We're not. If we hole up, I want to be somewhat familiar. I want to know where the exits are, and I want to be allowed to smoke. Okay. Take this down. Go around mines. Go in. And do it for him. So actually, throughout long. Go to Lisa's. Bring him back again. Have a cup of tea. Wait for all this to blow. Fake. No. Wait, we can't bring him back here. Why not? Well, it's not really safe, is it? Yeah. Let's stay in it. Where's safe? Where's the mega? Wait till the smoke. Come on. Go to Mummy's. Kill Phil. Alright. Grab land. Go to the Winchester. Let's go tight. My list of no ups. Yeah, something. How's that for a slice of fried gold? Yeah, boy. Try to let you stay in your home. Make no attempt. Loved ones. No boy. Physical contact with the assailants. Leave everything here on TV.
All right, that is from Shaun of the Dead. If you've never seen it, phenomenal film, very funny. So what did you notice in how that sequence felt? Like, what added to the comedic value that was going on? Repetition. So we've got 3 different iterations of the same plan, right? How did it feel as the plan kept evolving? Like, what did you notice changed?
Pacing.
So there's pacing, so it gets a little bit faster, right? Because they're like, all right, we already kind of sorted this part out, but like, we need to do this. Or like, the thing I love is like, the very first one is like, I'm so sorry, Philip, and they just fax it. And it's like, sorry, Philip, and then it's like, sorry, and then they like hit him and go on. So that adds into the value is they're changing from a production standpoint. Those shots, when they're in those different spaces, they probably did that right there.
which is from a shot list, right? Because they wanted, and part of the other visual, if you really break it down, is everything is laid out the same. So we talked about composition and framing. With the composition and the framing, we get the effect that this is the same idea just being iterated because it all looks the same, but it's taking places in different spaces and with a different level of like speed and stuff like that. So, that is our fun example. I had 2 examples I found on YouTube. So these are not, I would say, like examples of like project 1 level things. They're really good, but I think they're maybe a little bit too technical for what we're trying to do here. So don't take this as like, oh my gosh, I have to make this kind of thing. So these are kind of some day in the life that I found on YouTube. The first one is going to be closer to our time length. So I want you to observe like how many different shots there are and what we're seeing. The second one is a lot longer, but it is, again, a similar, like, how are we looking at something and how are we making it interesting? So this is our first one, which is a day in the life short film.
Didn't say. It's better. And you feel it's what you're still to
So rant guy.
and I think they're hot. What is it? You know, come notice and they will suffer, but you know, It's Thanks.
All right. So what are some of the things our example creator did in his day in the life?
Create the ability to have a loop.
So you had a loop? Yeah. So this, if we played it, that's a circle. So that's a really creative idea. Something you could borrow if you wanted to. What else did you notice? Everything seemed like it took more steps than it should have. Thinking of this idea of sequence, like what were the things that you were seeing that were kind of spaced out or could have been just like one shot, but instead it was multiple? Yeah, like grabbing all this camera equipment. Great example. Yeah, so instead of it just being one shot of him from a distance, opening the cupboard, snap, 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 grabbing all the stuff, it's like open cupboard, grab this thing, grab this thing, grab that thing. Video production, especially when we're doing this kind of storytelling, feels like overly complicated. It's kind of the word I would use. But that's what makes a video good, is it's thinking about the things in detail. So anything that you felt was like too long, where you were like, why are we looking at this as long as we are?
I'll do space out.
To it?
Oh no! Oh, like when you like
want to sleep too.
Okay, so the sleeping parts.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, we.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that was a little bit too long. They just feel a little uncomfortable. Might be intentional. Don't know. Anything that you wish he would have spent more time doing? Actually give him one piece of feedback. So here, we got one shot, right? Okay, he's going to edit. We have him listening to the edit, and it's just this shot for quite a bit, right? Versus, it would have been interesting because he's showing the repetition. Like one of the jokes I think he's trying to make is editors listen to the same thing like 50 times, and you get so sick of it at some point. So actually showing the thing playing like over and over and like looping, and then maybe him like glazing over and cutting back and forth. That's how you take the thing and you amplify it. So it's kind of like taking his idea of like, I want to show how boring it is being an editor, but I want to make it feel so boring that people like almost laugh, or they feel sad, or they're like, oh my gosh, you get me, that kind of thing. So good stuff going on here. Also like 2 minutes. So this is 30 seconds over what you would be expected to do. So you could cut this off a little bit sooner for your video. So that was our first example. I don't think we're going to watch all of the next example just because it's really long, but very different. So I want you to pay attention to the different style changes that this one has.
Buttons. And me.
This shit pretty soon. This goes on for another 3 minutes. So, okay. Difference between this one and the previous one. What are some things you noticed?
To be professional.
A little bit more professional.
Yeah.
It was a little bit like brighter. But yeah,
It's a little block.
more vloggier. The other one is a little bit more cinematic in a way, and this one feels a little bit like, I'm at the gym. No, I'm eating eggs, right? What else?
This one had like text on the screen. The other one didn't. Kind of explain.
A little more literal. Not as much room to like interpret. Did you all
prefer that, or did you like the one where you kind of had to pay attention and sort things out?
I think both of them are full of drama.
Sure.
First one kind of shows like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, it's a mix of cheerful and also like kind of, I guess, stress, because it's kind of like,
Sure.
yeah, so on one end, I love this job. On the other, it's like, oh, and for this one, it's more like, oh, getting them, like, you're,
Yeah.
What we're trying the same story.
Totally. Absolutely. Neither of these is right or wrong. They just have a very distinct feel. So if you're someone who in your video you want to be a little bit more artsy, you might want to lean more into the first one, which is a little bit more like, oh, how can I make this feel like a loop? Or how can I maybe amplify things to be a little bit more comedic or serious? This one is a little bit more straightforward. Nothing wrong with that. Still very well shot. Like even with this, like we have them in class, you know, there's like, it's not just walk into lecture hall, that's it. It's walk into lecture hall. It's dap my friend. It's look at my notes. It's professor. It's like all these different things that then add into the sequence. So kind of to that idea of talking about the number of shots I'm looking for you to do, I said like minimum of 12. If you think about that, you could break one thing into like 6 different shots and you're already halfway there. So those are examples. I'm actually going to have you practice this because I am going to have part of your requirement be building out a shot list for yourself because I want you to build that habit. So this is going to be one of your first just kind of like in-class paper assignments. They don't have a stapler, which is annoying, but whatever. So all this is, if you want to work with a partner next to you, I think I had originally planned on you all doing it individually, but I can tell we have these early February Tuesday morning sleepies because I have them too. So I get it. But all this is, you do not have to do all 5. This is just a practice of seeing these different things. So like, you know, the morning fuel, breaking down this morning routine, the departure, you know, like where am I going? What am I doing? The focus, like how am I staying on task and doing my best? Feel free to envision me as kind of like getting an early start on that one. So this one will go and can be kind of like getting a head start on this part of like having your shot list or your progress 1. That's 1 set, 2 set.
Are we getting a grade for this?
Yes. So this is the completion grade. Again, this is just getting some practice in thinking through this idea of sequence and how to actually. Sorry, some listeners. Coast. No. So you should have 2 sheets. So again, you do not have to do all 5 that are on the list. Some of them might be more interesting to you than others. I'm going to throw. Let's do like 7 minutes on the board, guys. So we'll work on this for like 7-ish minutes, and then I'll have you kind of share with your table mates what are some differences that you're noticing in each other's work. What are some ideas for shots that you want to borrow? And don't worry about getting too like technical in describing the framing and the description. It could be as simple as like cup of coffee, like shot right next to the coffee cup or something like that. So just something that you visually kind of understand what you're trying to record. So take a couple minutes and then we'll keep moving. Yeah, I'll be right there. Give me 1 second.
So I don't know. Where do I go?
So, what's your understanding for shotguns?
He's a man.
Mhm.
What about him?
So, so based on this, what do you think goes in the world?
I don't know. Let's see. That's cute.
I'm asking you to give it a shot. I'll fill in a.
You want to split? I don't know. Training.
Sure. So, my goal for you is to pick 3 of these from singing, so whichever one is one. Let's do more. You said what the per shot one. This is you practicing, let's say, it's making for your videos. How could you look at making a couple parts? Place one is it's an exercise so you just described. So one might be like shot of my whole kitchen. Another shot like me filling up the cup. Adding the filter and going that's thinking of all the steps. So then you just capture those steps.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'm start facing surely they you do the things to it and then that's honestly it wanted the shot so maybe before you head out today we'll want to get I'm totally out because I'd rather shoot kind of easily like punchline shoot but now just like you shut this thing it's a jump into something that always like how can I and this how it's like too much and then so let's talk about it so this yes cooking
So you got about a minute left. So however far you get is fine. I'm going to have you work together in pairs to kind of compare what you focused on or what you did. So if you only got through a couple of them, you can work with your table mates to wrap up the rest. So go ahead and you can work together. The thing I want you specifically with a partner or the people around you to check out is how are you individually visualizing what you're seeing? Or as you're kind of doing this process, are you finding that describing a visual, like, is it gelling with your brain? Because if not, I'll talk us through another example that you can use that is maybe like an alternative if like the written description doesn't work for you for a shot list. So find a partner. Tyler, if you want to join, Kaylee or James, or James or Kaylee or Tyler, if you want to find one of the other groups, you can do that. So just take like 3 minutes. So again, just some of those high level things you're observing about what this process feels like, what you're doing, what your peer is doing.
So very so I did like my morning routine. Kids were outpacing. So like but first it'd be like a little shy, like this explore. Love to see it. It was sorry you like walking and ask the kid for the smiles. And then I'd probably be like eyeing string props up, like putting on so and I said and a lot of those things just I feel like to be kind of like in the swinging the weights on the box. So then the toast we just go wide and actually like let's do things like how do you know that you saw the sleep or something in these this I'm a first so right for this hello what are you eating in shower if I work out in the morning out of eat something you feel up so I lay down a lot of the seat that's breaks nothing else I'm the base getting so bad they can't eat and the she's the way pretty good up all the issues is and for shots so takes that nonsense or champions you know what I mean I they give I just so hard it's things yeah you shut up pretty sure to let me see your passport and like cuts to the case as it right just it's so then it's and that's good it's like I put someone on two rabbits here when I had to show up I came down please go back to the bar such a speed also so somehow you put to take off this like sometimes much I don't know to snap on and just go take a house and sing it's what should I do just I'm like race person so American just how I can like still watch okay you have to stop
Like they can
they got one what makes sense that's what I still I it's not even sanction of that watch was last happened
It shows.
what you up to now? Kind
on
for what's you?
Yeah.
No, I was a white. I would have like a white job be flames, but you don't see the game.
Oh.
Like the second one I have said, or that's all I was laughing. I was something that's interesting. I was like, like these.
Okay.
Just like
Yeah.
and got these starting up one.
I want for the early archers or Susan the Budding's house. West side of huge
And so right.
Oh, they're going to die. Let's go on.
should have blocked
Are in the lane.
I like a side.
I was there. I you like so like using just stuff.
But it,
Like love
but you probably agree.
to
I didn't see what you like.
no.
And you said nothing well. I'm stations on the things. Well, like,
Yeah.
so much.
School. That's as far as I got. So I'm peace.
But they still be so
Think about
Hey, good don't be one. I'm not the only way. Look at this 4 hours, birds. Well,
really
I'd like to insist lady vanish.
She's like, well, so not around.
It's like what was that again? I had some friendly scavenger on it.
Get some feeling, some on the first better last year, and then coming out. So it's the situation, right? Yeah. So I do have outside, I think, but then it's like,
Tell some
so at the and I found so like can be it's like we're very on height to so like you just not support it out first or discussion that like take out of my folks or short it. And that's the question for those of how losing out.
was like I left thing and figured this for time. It's like what like do anything start so split like whereas you from something that was natural.
All right, awesome. I'm hearing some great discussions. So I'm going to walk through this idea of storyboarding in a second here. But how did it feel, just high level, how did it feel doing this, having to like think through all these like minute details of doing something?
It's confusing.
Okay, yeah.
You have a bunch of ideas in words,
Sure.
and like it depends on how like everyone works.
Totally. Yeah.
Out how it should do.
Totally.
And I can't act that like in here because that's awkward.
Let me like get my coffee just right and do this.
Yeah.
I got you.
Look at me like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. Like, my God,
Well, you're going to have to watch my crap footage. So buckle up. Scott, go for it.
I feel like it helps the process out. Like if I were to just go into it and be like, okay, I gotta film this routine or whatever, and I might start to film something and be like, oh, I should have done this or should have done that, or a different angle. Like I feel like it helps angles and the shots you want to get.
Yeah, so almost because it's hard because again, it's like that's the whole point of making a video is you're capturing what you want people to see, but you have to like kind of try and see it in here, and you're like, I can kind of see it, but it's fuzzy. People who are like, I think doing this is really going to help me, just in general. Just curious. Okay, couple of you. How many of you feel like that process was like, this is going to get in the way, and this is going to make it harder for me? Be totally honest. That's totally fine. Okay. For some of you who are feeling that with like the description, I know Liz, you mentioned like you're more visual. For other people, like what about the listing and the writing is like annoying?
I'm so guilty of being bad at pre-planning.
Okay.
I'm kind of just, if you tell me to write an essay, I just write my final and edit it
Sure.
as me too. So, you know, but like,
I hear that.
when I'm really thinking about it more sport, and not thinking it's like the first place, it's gonna be jumble mess.
Gotcha.
Like when she said, "Oh, we edit one more, she's gonna be more making me bring this nice favorite knowledge." Then,
Yes.
I'm really focused.
Okay.
I'm calling someone for into its fullest potential, but like the idea of planning out every single thing just seems so overwhelming to
Sure.
that sometimes like I'm too focused on it. It doesn't mean like let me just observe and see what I see or get that way. It's just saying like let's do it like the rest.
Totally. Gotcha. Yes.
all right,
Last thought, then I'll.
okay, that was so. Actually, never mind. Jared had this
Okay.
story where
Yeah, so I'll talk to you. So, the main thing I have found with like making and like writing out a shot list or doing storyboards that is helpful is if you're trying to do something where it requires you to hit like almost precise marks, if that makes sense. So thinking, we'll use the Shaun of the Dead example again. If they had everything with the ideas feel different every single time, it doesn't land, right? Because their goal is they want to be funny. They want to be funny by showing that this idea is evolving and it's like getting a little bit more honed every time. And so for them, they need that exact shot list or storyboards to be like, okay, when we're at Phillips, they need to be lined up like this and they need to say this. And now we're going to do it again, but they're going to say this instead. That's where a shot list can come in handy. There is absolutely room and space to just like try stuff. And so I don't want you to get hung up on like, oh, I have to do all this pre-planning and like extreme prep before I can shoot. Because I know for me, I'm someone where like, I almost have to do this like in the writing world, they call it like an outliner versus a pantser. So like Stephen King's a pantser. He just sits down and he's like, there's a crazy clown, man. He just is in the streets and blah, blah, blah. And he just writes this story and he has no idea where it's going. Then you have like Brandon Sanderson for my fantasy fans who he's got this, 300 page long
outline before he even writes the like 600-page long book. So neither of those is wrong. They're just very different. What I do want you to do though for this project, so I will leave it up to your individual discretion. If you are someone where this idea of writing out your shot list is going to be helpful for you, do that. If you are more visual, I would recommend doing something like storyboarding. This is totally fine as a storyboard. Like you don't have to do the whole crazy like borderline animatic where it looks exactly how it's going to look. I see a shot. Okay, I'm kind of on my couch. I think grabbing the phone, close up of the TV, right? Like this communicates to me like what I'm trying to do. If either of these still feels a little bit too constricting, this is what I would recommend you do, is either the like run and go where you just try, you take a shot, you look at it, you try it again, and you just kind of like feel your way through it, or taking photos. That can be really helpful. So that is a job on film sets, is they have people who are there to do like principal, I can't remember the exact term, but basically to take photography of the set and the feeling and everything, because instead of spending all the time and budget to like record people and rig stuff, they can kind of see visually how is this going to look and feel, and is it right, is it wrong, what do we change? And then once they get to the recording side, they lean full into it. So for that part of your project one that I'm asking you for, do whichever of these. I will update that too on the project. So if you see it's only listed as shot list, like don't freak out. If you do this third option, what I would ask for is maybe I'm going to think about this one because I don't want to make you retroactively go back and like list out all your shots, because that just is adding another step for you that, again, just like makes it more complicated than it needs to be. But the main goal and why I want you to do this is because it's helpful to try stuff and figure stuff out as you go, but you also don't want to be too restricting because that's where the creative magic happens. So we have technically two things left that we're going to do today. So we're going to take our second 10-minute break with I forgot, we got to talk about Pete Weber again. We're going to take our second break in a second, but ultimately, like, remember, your job as an editor and as a video creator is to make people watch the thing and to feel engaged and like it's interesting. So whether someone hates it or loves it, make people watch it. So that's where the magic happens of like getting things organized. So with that, like I said, I'm going to grab some tripods and stuff. You got 10 minutes, and then we will start heading into the last part of our class today.
Can I see? Or you see? Yeah. So you're just the syndrome. It's out. So I never so I get my confidence. I'm not this is like I pay the drivings like that's like perhaps I know and I would know you get over the older the child be like me. Let's say I that the general was don't have science and your mark well. So I don't retrieve a lot of such good. But on me, I was saying that and so yeah, I'm giving like it means testing for the and so watching the big like as he said no views that's correlation like forecast. Yeah. I need to put my so far. I mean it's yeah it's
But like, do you feel confident? Like, you know, that's why I'm saying all this stuff about the.
Yeah, but I've also been studying
myself. It's not off times. I feel some skill for it. I'm not definitely honest. See, I need to buy meat by chance. Honestly. I watch Stealing Spence. Well, it's not rings.
very
They start going to sleep, talk about it, about secret, how it's going. It's like, how it should be looked at.
every
Sick for one things. Really. And so, I stick for my mystical events. And most of the next in my guess what? So, say, oh, you know, they were at ease. Yeah, say, say, boy.
yeah.
The thing, we start father of fan at getting that solid bit of early apple bundle. Yeah. False. Then you're gonna have more pregnant. The big questions like great words me and so how long the clip for that being how long the duration of you really watching it, and it's for
Yeah. I mean, I think with having more head of their agency or 69 a second, you scored whatever you said. This will help you. Right. Or translation instructions, like I was
90 seconds. So I just that's long. And that trigger would come back one exception of playing. So I thought it was like 5 seconds. I'm saying because like I was
90 seconds.
okay.
So on your that's much so that'd be wage.
I know it was like whoa, like, but and then he until 5 seconds or you kiss it because I was timing it. One thing, the two brothers always like show it to an example. The other goal is with the headache detection, so Matthew got his video is like means some distance. It's 2 seconds. That's it.
Yeah.
The longest was to his bucket. Yes. No. This spot in this one. Then let's see here. Yeah. You make to save on. Or facts. It's one just some two one. The price I sleep the cartridge split. Except the light. Please. I mean this oh it's tomorrow. This fine. That's fine. Just looks like went up there. Silence. Zero. Sorry, you. What's it? But. Listen. Come. Listen. Listen. Said it, but. So, thing now. It was 10 minutes up. She could want to something. Decent.
Well, the time are we getting one out today?
So we're gonna probably we have one last thing that we're gonna start probably around 11:30. Once that thing is done, and
Tremendous from them. Sleeping bed. Still sticky. I admit it. See, it's in it. Well, not because I was spontaneous, not extra. It will have like tension. So now, well, we're upset. It's like that. See, yeah, I was every experience like to go downstairs, all this strength to do. It's
all right, I'm gonna come grab your shot list sheet. So even if you didn't finish, do not stress. It's not gonna penalize you. It's just for completions. So as far as long as you got, make sure your name is on it too.
finding it. Really,
Can you give me your stimulus? Can you give me your sheet?
Four.
Did you put your name on it?
yeah.
6. On Wells on Park. That's fine. As far as you got. Same thing with what's on it. Thank you.
I be grave.
It's for completion, so you did your best.
It's just relax. This is a good. Good. It says people. So, anything? I don't got something on this, so I need it. Simply us. And time is rubbish. Yes. Something that is the I was setting. That's all. Simple solution. It's all in yet. Sister Melkers. I can't expect anything, yes. Shoot, perhaps the central games. I've experienced. Yeah. She got. Oh, it's horrible. But that you both slept. Guy in the body. Back. Thanks.
All right, so we're gonna keep moseying here. So like I said, we are on our way to finishing. So what we are gonna do is now I'm gonna have you practice editing a day in the life using my footage. Dun, dun, dun. As a note, my wife was watching me edit this last night, and she's like, "Why are you doing this to us?" And I was like, I don't know what's wrong. Apparently, our fridge is like off limits to the public or something. So if you go to the instructor challenge week 4 in Canvas, there will be example day in the life footage. So just like with your project, 60 to 90 seconds. Like I said, have my file with the exact same footage that I will show you my version of in a little bit. So I'm going to give you all about like 40 to 45 minutes. So this is going to be, again, one of those completion grade things. So even if you don't get to the full 60 or 90 seconds, aim to get in Premiere, put footage in, cut some of it down, and add some music. So that's basically all that you're doing. So this is a great time that if you have any other questions about the program in Premiere, any shortcuts or anything, please let me know now, because I would hate for you to leave today and to feel like there's something that I could have explained that we could cover right now. So super simple, just trim these things down, add a song using I think Pexels, which is where you got music from the last assignment. So I'm going to throw a timer up, I'm going to play some music, ask some questions, and that'll be kind of our next chunk of class. Yeah. Oh, is it locked? Okay. Give me 1 second. I will fix that right speedy. Share. Oh, interesting. For me. Try it now. It says that it's open to everybody. Maybe it's mail just locked until what? Oh, that's why. Okay. Okay. All right. Now try it. It should work. Yep. Okay, great.
Where's that spoon? What time? How long does it have to be?
60 to 90 seconds. So we're going to work on this edit for about 40 minutes. Just to give you some time. We got one thing after this. And then that will be
No.
It's good. Hosting. Mary. Mother. You know. Not. Smart. Is that good? That's what one share in 18 minutes. So, soup. Any particular requirements for this?
Just however you think. Whatever you think would make an interesting video that is 60 to 90 seconds long.
Things. Yeah. It's good. And I
You. That's a lot of digits.
Welcome to adulthood.
No. Okay.
Any questions so far? Is everyone feeling they kind of just
what? Oh, okay. It's like we get. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna pass around the handy dandy phone tripods. Is anyone not interested in one?
And if not,
You have one? Okay. I'm just gonna go around. I think I just saw two, so both of the Nathans, I think we're good. So these are fresh out of the box. Again, please don't do anything super crazy or reckless with them. If something does happen, just please let me know. I will help take care of it. Not a big deal.
Do we take these home or keep these there?
You can take these. I don't think I'm technically supposed to do that, but I didn't put this on like your required things for the course. So just gonna call school for now.
Oh, I'm supposed to cite you things? Oh, man.
I was thinking about it as I was getting these, and I was like, so here's like, see, wait.
Sure. Thanks for playing it. There that's it.
Yes, great. Save the box. That would be the thing. Is don't like throw everything out as if you are opening for yourself. That would be
Final.
you're good.
Can you please hear me?
Follow up there. Thinking I will strength of the experiences. Yeah.
Ting. Okay. Okay.
See.
And but good. Um, it's good. And in in and you
Wait, how do I get it from Pexel? Shit. So I feel the explore. See, it's falls. You know what? Minus 7 top. 1/in last game numbers. That thing was.
I think it's Pixabay, not Pexels.
Yeah, I think it was a different website. Essentials.
Apologies, I said Pexels to get music. That is not the one. Is Pixabay.
As or
So if you're at Pexels and you're like, what the heck? Where do you find music? You can't. So that's my bad.
everything's on. But it's in. Done it happened. And so do it. Green. There we go. So the banana card. The inspect. Who's closed? But then she's done that. Good, absolutely brilliant line in there. Spend time with them. I think 18 minutes. Yes. Well, it's it. It's just from all set. Stop reading this, man. Open.
Where's everybody sitting at their edit need time wise? I just want to know if I undershot how much time you need or if we need some more time.
I just finished the, so you want file or the export? The export. Oh, yes. Good question. Make sure you export the video, not the function file.
So I got one is finished. Sarah nodding like you're kind of pretty much done. Okay, so we'll sit at that 9 once we hit that 10-minute mark. So once you get kind of down to the like 2-minute point, that would be the time to make sure you're exporting whatever you've got. If you're done early, I would maybe challenge you to see if there's anything that you would retweak, or if you just want to start messing with
some of the effects and stuff in Premiere. So if you want to try out like transitions or like visual effects, feel free to just kind of mess with that.
Good night. He's nice.
Do we need to export?
Yes. So make sure you export your video and then upload that to the assignment and Canvas.
Yes,
So the H.264 is
Yep. You got it. That's MP4.
because I was just like the NP.
Gotcha. Yep. So the H point or H.264. That's their.
this. That's it. That's that within space. Time. I'm safe from control. Jump.
Yes.
It's in the stage and there's the solutions. Do that. You man. That's this one that. They must shit. They like send it. Things when it that is complete congress. None.
Oh, just
Mm-hmm.
even like comment yesterday.
I saw it. I didn't dig into it a ton, but let me revisit it. So, are you able to possibly like recreate it or show me what was up? Because I think I kind of understood.
You make two clicks like okay if I'm upset I do it. So I was like, wait. So
Doing the narrations. Do you by chance have them on your computer?
Yeah,
Okay, why don't we look there? Just
sure. Right now,
Food pipes.
was that on? Oh, should I go to the? Yeah, computer. So I'm you.
Let's see what we can do.
figure out here.
It was not that.
Very acceptance.
This is how it gets.
Seems like I'm like my family.
He's like thinking.
Amen. Yes.
Oh, just live. Spent with video.
Shit.
Spoke.
Okay.
regarding distance to stuff I would see video of the next 40 phones. Just this here, audio, slides, the download. See? It was in here.
Yeah, and so you're saying that like when you try to drag stuff through it,
Honey, clips, sand.
but once you put
Yeah, so like, on it, like,
gotcha, thumbnail. So this insect's out real quick. Let's also go to create cloud app audio sound. This doesn't see. So will be Adobe Creative Cloud. So if you go to your searches, so it's kind of like the so that's app that we can form our programs and it's on student option, but that's our submission. So update. No,
it's already
it's already outdated. So let's do check the evidence. That's funny. Is the other thing we could try, so why don't we close out the race for right now? I'm not. Jive, that's okay.
so nothing can limit these. Exactly that. Just
Let's so all the other lands are like, yeah, it's fish foundation's good.
there is H. So this is just like it was like stomach. It was you the same bit the narrative thing.
Good.
That's not the problem.
Each looks up.
Yeah, it's just like you gotta do it.
Then
Karen just like
I need to try something. This kind of get this done. All right, so just checking the clock. If no matter where you're at right now, if you want to start exporting your videos, I will show you mine. Kind of talk through which kind of project. I agree. It's your first one. It's great.
so do you
So, because what I'm wondering is if something in the project creation that just like you're listed up or something. So now I did a completely new project. So if I try to drag it and then so now that works.
okay,
So
punishment.
Yeah.
But that was one of mentioning the enough
I still probably
I decided
I trust because like I know that this is kind of some of this stuff that I'm so I kind of try to take any contextual approach you can do. So it's like you know say move.
so I want that. It's all good. Like, oh, you're bullshit.
I trust it. How that happened? No friend code. How I fixed it? I just made it completely fine without all of it. So I don't know if that was found there corrupted. I don't know if there was something in what it was named. I don't know if it was in how you like recording footage. But that's what we need. Since we the first thing in chess was like updating this. Sometimes I'm doing with our systems or whatever. And then the other option was thinking that it was fine and shit. Sometimes I have that where just program just like so yeah, if you still want to do that because you already have all the footage about to see the selections, like go for it to get practice. But
Inspiration was just you've already said.
yeah, you do one of those like that for
Well, there's a shot scene in the video, so
Yes.
so you're going for the heartstrings.
listen, you're gonna know.
Sometimes
Cerebral and on this.
sometimes deers get shot.
Where you're this stuff.
So you can upload this, excuse me, in the, where is it? I think the little thing in the module is called Instructor Challenge. So you can just make sure your video is uploaded there. So I'm going to show you my edit. I'm actually going to have you critique my edit because I want to,
What if you're not done with them? This big, even though it's not graded, for it's still turned it in.
give me one sec. We'll walk through this and then, okay, let me get my
Especially
Position first.
someone that names some